Hey Joe, it's Folks here, and in this video we're going to be bringing back an old series that we used to do here all the time on the channel. Every single Monday I make this post right here inside of the POD Ninjas group, where essentially I ask you for your biggest print-on-demand questions, and then I pick a whole bunch of them and I answer them in this video today. So that's what we're going to do. I have the questions being shown on the screen so that way you guys can see what is inside of this video. They'll also be timestamps in the description, so if you guys wanted to skip through, you could. And if you want to submit your own, make sure to either comment it here on the video, or you can join the POD Ninjas Facebook group, look for that post, and submit it when I make the post every week. So let's jump into it. Our first question is a good one. Someone wants to know how to find winning niches that are not saturated. They then said, when I do all the research, the trending niches that they like are saturated. Now, my take on this, honestly, is somewhat, I guess, controversial in the sense where I don't really think any niche is oversaturated. I don't think any niche is going to be too saturated for you to actually sell in. What I think actually happens, though, is that specific products get really saturated. Now, think about the niches that this person mentioned, right? Pets, fishing, camping, hiking. I think what this person's likely doing is they're looking at apparel in these niches, and they're seeing that there's just a lot of sellers there. I think if you get a little bit more creative with your product choice that you're offering, you might be able to cut through some of that saturation. The niche is going to be passionate regardless. It's not going to be too saturated, but what could be saturated is the products that are being sold in that niche. Take it, for example, right? The restaurant industry. No one really thinks it's saturated, but certainly there are lots of restaurants, but they're all offering different things. If you were to open up a pizza shop right next to another pizza shop, you might think it's a little bit saturated, and that's what's happening when it comes to product choices. The next question is also about niches. They're asking, what is the best way to validate your niche? Now, this is also something that I see a lot of people ask and a lot of people struggle with. Now, when it comes to like validating a niche, right, to see if it's passionate enough to actually buy online, there's never going to be like a software or a tool or anything like that that you can like type a niche into and it will tell you if it's good. Now, when it comes to researching a niche, you're going to have to do things somewhat manually. I'll give you two examples of things that I like to do. One is I like to just go and see if I can find other sellers that are selling products in that niche. And if I can, to me, that's a good sign, right? If you remember from our first question about saturation, you might see that there's a lot of products being sold, like specific types of products, but maybe, again, if you take that as a sign that the niche has some passion behind it, and then you choose something different, you might be able to cut through some of that potential saturation. So I would say the first thing would be try to go and find other sellers that are selling products in the niche. If you can find a lot of them, that's a good sign. And then secondly, look for social media presence, right? Are there Facebook groups? Are there Facebook pages? Are there Instagram pages? Are there Pinterest boards that are dedicated to the niche? If you can find a combination of both print-on-demand sellers and a large social media presence, that could be a good sign that your niche could be worthwhile selling in. The next question here is from Moses, essentially asking what my take is on essentially outsourcing every aspect of a print-on-demand business. They then list a whole bunch of things like website design, site copy, social media management, Facebook ads management, customer service, and accounting. Now, two things. One is that's going to be very expensive. If you're talking about outsourcing every aspect of the business, you're going to want to make sure that whoever's doing that stuff is actually qualified. Now, there's going to be, like, let's say you go to Fiverr.com, right? You can find people that are going to build you a whole store for like $50, but you're probably not going to get a great looking store. And the same is true for those other tasks. If you are willing to hire someone that is worthwhile, then yeah, do it. But it's going to be very pricey. You're going to have to spend a lot of money on that. That's why, when even in my experience, right, with my own stores, I've never outsourced any of that. I've done it myself. Of course, I've had like a VA here and there to answer emails and things like that. But for the most part, when it comes to building stores and running ads and things like that, those are things that I'm doing. And that's the same thing like with clients of mine. Like there's a lot of people that want to jump in to print on demand that don't really know anything about this business model, but they also don't have a large amount of capital to invest invest to have somebody else do all the work for them. So my general take on that is that it's going to be very expensive, and you're likely, if you're going to cheap out on any of it, you're likely not going to get a great product from somebody because you're not paying enough to get the talent that is necessary. Here's a great question from Martin, basically asking about how to get likes on the Facebook and Instagram pages so your business appears genuine. And then his last part of the question is, how is it best to promote before you launch? Now, one thing to keep in mind is I hear a lot of people that talk about their big launch, right? And I don't think print on demand is necessarily a business model where you need a big launch, right? For the most part, what my outlook on print on demand is that you're going to build your Shopify store, and once it's ready, you're going to begin launching ads, right? And you're going to be bringing people that have never seen your store before to the store. So as long as everything looks good, it doesn't matter that you have spent months like pre-launch, right? It doesn't matter that you spent months getting likes and things like that, right? The point is, build everything to look good, right? Try to get as much social proof on your store as possible, right? Try to make it look as good as possible. Complete all of your social media profiles and make sure there's content there, and then just begin launching, right? You don't need to worry. Like, honestly, I've never spent time like before trying to sell a product on building a following first, so that way it looks more genuine, right? I think that there's definitely value there, right? If your social media pages have a lot of followers, I think that can help in the long term because you could potentially promote to those people, but I don't think it's a necessity to actually launch, right? To answer your actual question, how to go about it, one thing you could do is you could start an Instagram page for your niche. You could begin posting content inside of that niche that the people that would like that niche would actually want to follow that account, right? You could post funny videos, funny images, memes, things like that, and attempt to grow that account. But other than that, like, you're just going to have to sort of do this organically, like as you're promoting your products, and just slowly grow. And then eventually, like as you begin to get bigger, that growth will accelerate. But in the beginning, I wouldn't honestly spend too much time or too much energy focusing on just getting likes before you launch. Our last question is from Dante Lazada. He says, SEO, please. So I've had a few people in the past ask me about SEO and print on demand. And again, like I answered a different question earlier in this video, I don't think print on demand is a great SEO business, mainly because some of the things that we are selling are just really random, right? For instance, I've shown this product here on the channel before. This is a pair of shoes for teachers, right? This is the perfect type of product to promote with an ad, right? A direct response model where you're just showing this to people that might be interested in it. It's a cool product, it's unique, and that's why they're going to buy it. Nobody's really going on Google and searching for this type of stuff. And the same is true in so many different niches. Like, our products are meant to be impulse purchase type of things, and not really something that someone is going to be going out and searching for, right? And also, secondly, just to keep in mind, like, SEO is not something that you just set up once and have it set up forever, right? SEO is something that's going to come over time. If you have a brand new store, you're not going to rank on Google no matter really what you do, because SEO is based on a lot more than just keywords on the store and different things like that. And again, I'm not going to get too much into it because even I am not an expert on SEO, but I do know from my little amount of experience with it that it takes a lot to actually get something to rank in terms of things on the site, like backlinks that you might have on other websites, maybe how old your URL is, and a whole bunch of other things that are going to go into that. But again, I wouldn't spend too much time on that. The name of the game for me with print on demand is building a store, launching ads, bringing them to the store, and not really worrying too much about organic Google search traffic. So if you guys enjoyed bringing back this series, drop a like on it. And if you guys have a question that you want to submit, make sure to do so in the POD Ninjas group, and I will see you guys in the next one.